Well, the First Lady is now taking some criticism for remarks she made on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. While her hope was clearly to convince young people to sign up for Obamacare, her choice of words seems to be ticking some people off.
Thanks to the Affordable Care Act, young people can stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26. But once they hit 26, they're on their own, and a lot of young people think they're invincible. But the truth is, young people are knuckleheads, you know? They're the ones who are cooking for the first time and slice their finger open. They're dancing on the bar stool.
Joining me now, Dana Lash, who's a radio show host and contributor with TheBlaze.com, and Ebony Williams, who's a political analyst and a trial attorney. And Dana is host of Dana on The Blaze as well, TV show with The Blaze. Great to see you both. Okay, so why are people upset about this, Dana?
I don't really so much take issue with her saying that the young people are knuckleheads, so much as I do kind of the condescending tone. When I was in my early 20s, I was married, I had a baby, and I was already working. I didn't cook for the first time when I was in my 20s. I was cooking when I was a teenager, and I didn't dance on a bar stool either. It just seems, I mean, we saw the brosurance ads that came out of Colorado, and this just kind of solidifies that whole mindset that, well, okay, well, they think of millennials as these sort of coyote ugly woo girls that are, I'm surprised that they think that millennials are smart enough to even sign up for Obamacare if they cut their finger cooking for the first time in their 20s. It just seems really condescending to me.
Ebony, that is some of what we heard online, just reading on Town Hall. Ridiculous, condescending rhetoric, offensive, unnecessary, and arrogant. It is clear that this administration thinks my generation is a bunch of idiots. No one likes being called a knucklehead. That's just one example. Your thoughts?
Megan, I just think people are taking that too seriously and too literally. Look, I'm a part of this millennial generation. I just got out of my 20s last year. And, you know, I don't think I am a knucklehead. I think that's a bad choice of words from the First Lady, who otherwise is a complete class act, in my opinion. But I think her point is well taken that, yes, certainly many in my generation feel themselves to be invincible. We're not looking to long-term gratification and things that are more far off in the future. That's a true statement, generally speaking. And so I think that is also reflected in the sign-up. You're right, Meg. You pointed out the whole point of her appearance was not just for laughs and giggles. It was to encourage us to sign up. We're at 25%, I think, right now, sign-up rate. They want us at closer to 40. So clearly there is a lag there that needs to be addressed.
And let me ask you this, Dana. Is this about what the First Lady said, or is it about the dislike that some people, especially on the right, have for her? Because she gets a lot of flack for minor things. And sometimes, you know, that happens because people, they just don't like her, or it happens to the president because they just don't like him.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't really, like with this whole knucklehead comment, I get she was trying to be funny. I mean, she's on with Jimmy Fallon, and she's doing, if you're going to go out and you're going to try to sell Obamacare to millennials, I think I'm Gen X or like barely Gen Y. If you're trying to sell,
I can't keep track of it all. I don't know.
I know. I'm all like, I'm like, what? I don't. But no, if you're trying to sell Obamacare to millennials, you're going to go on the Tonight Show. You're going to go on the shows that millennials are up late watching.
And their point is, then you shouldn't insult them. You shouldn't like try to convince them by
exactly.
saying.
And the thing is. Well, no, I'm sorry, Megan. It just doesn't make sense. If you need millennials to make Obamacare solvent, wouldn't you make the law to where they can't stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26 years of age?
Well, there is that. But let me ask you this, Ebony, because she's getting some criticism. I shouldn't say he, President Obama, is getting some criticism this week as well, because once again he's come out with this statement trying to make us believe that 10 million people have signed up for Obamacare. 10 million Americans just in the first few months have gotten health care thanks to Obamacare. And that a big chunk of that is a Medicaid number, the very same Medicaid number that he's been using repeatedly, that he has repeatedly been called out for, that has been given 3 Pinocchios, I think it is, by the Washington Post, and along with a warning saying people need to stop using that number. It is false. Why does he keep doing that?
Well, Megan, I can't speak to why the president's using a number that may be faulty, but I can say this, that 10 million figure, I believe, comes from a Medicaid expansion. Also, as Dana was just talking about, the number of people staying
but that's
on their parents' plans through 26.
In the Medicaid number, he is saying that 7 million Americans have access to health care for the first time because of Medicaid expansion, and the fact checkers have said that's not true. Many of those Medicaid enrollees already had Medicaid before Obamacare. You can't credit the law with the enrollments. That's been made clear repeatedly. And repeatedly, he keeps using the number.
Well, I think, again, I'm not defending that usage, Megan. I think the president has struggled repeatedly in terms of messaging. I think the point, his sentiment is well taken, which is he's trying to encourage people to get signed up for this thing before this open enrollment period ends.
By overstating the numbers?
Hovering around 4 million.
Yeah. They'll just have another deadline.
I mean,
deadline extension.
That's the thing. They're coming up
Yeah,
against it. So that's the question, is whether
needs
they're
to
trying to
find-
overstate the numbers in order to lure people and see how great it is. 10 million already in the water. Okay, I got to go. Good to see you both.
Thanks, Megan.
Coming up.